was your favourite part of the trip?
It's really hard to pinpoint the favourite part of the trip because there are just so many good parts of the last 2 weeks. Everything from the food and catering, accommodation is just spot on. Spoilt with 3-course meals every single evening. Every day the riding is a little bit different, from bike parks to walking trails to manicured trails to even fire trails. Really good. One of the best parts about this trip is that Ian and Deb have so much local knowledge, and you definitely can't get that if you come over here by yourself. There's so many hidden things that you just need to really to draw on Escapegoat's knowledge of this local area. My favourite trail was actually the bike park at Leger. Leger, I didn't know of before I came to this trip, and I guess I'm a frustrated downhiller, and I had a really good time thrashing my 29er all over that park. That was the best. If you could choose just one day, what do you think it would be?
I think the hiker bike thing is probably the most memorable because you know that not many other people can just go and do it. And it's quite unique to us.
What's unique about riding in France?
On the Alps.
Yes.
Just the volume of descending. It just descends just going there.
I was actually part of the inaugural tour, the very first one, and it so happened I wanted to go overseas. I knew that Ian and Deborah had started this company, and I asked would they go to Europe sometime in the future, and they said they would, and I signed up knowing them, and that was very reassuring for me.
And tell me, how's the riding out here in the Alps different to Adelaide?
Well, in Adelaide you can go for about go maybe up 25 metres and down 25 metres. But here, where you take the ski lift up to about 1600, just over here, and then you ride all the way down, which is about 1,000 metres, which I find really cool.
Go a bit.
Can you describe a typical day here riding with Escapegoat?
Typical day. Bit of chaos in the morning. Nobody knows where their gloves and pads are or anything like that. Yeah, we normally get going early in the morning. Get out. It can be quite hard work. It's not easy riding out here, that's for sure. But yeah, long days. Very tired muscles.
In the evening?
Very chilled, extremely chilled out.
And have you made some good friends?
Yeah, I have. I met some really nice people.
And you're going to be back next year?
I think so. I could be back next year. Yeah.
Why would you recommend this trip to someone else?
If you're serious about mountain biking and you want a really good holiday, a mountain biking holiday that is, I'd certainly recommend this trip because of pretty much every reason. I have had no second thoughts about the investment in this trip, and I'm leaving thinking that I want to book a ticket back here again for next year. Kirsten, what's the biggest difference between riding in Australia and riding in the Alps here in France?
The mountains for me. The mountains, the terrain, and I guess also the culture. You come across an incredibly rider-friendly environment, and we don't have that in Australia yet, and it's very unfortunate. So here the French embrace it, they love it when you ride, they encourage you, and they share the trails, the roads, the environment.
This is my second time.
Of all the trails that you rode over the last 2 weeks, what was your favourite, or what day was your favourite, and why?
Strangely enough, the favourite was probably yesterday in the worst conditions, but it was very cold. We had a lot of rain, I think 33 mils over the previous day, and I expected it to be by far more challenging, and it was challenging, but for some reason I enjoyed it a lot. It was Morzine, which is not normally my favourite area of riding, but it happened to be on that particular day. Other than that, I find Col d'Ampien would probably be my favourite. It's pretty hard. I really find all of them are my favourite, to be perfectly honest. So, but anyway, it stood out. It was very unusual and
okay. What sort of people would you recommend this trip to?
I would recommend this trip to medium level mountain bikers. If you can pull 30 plus kilometres a day, riding in reasonably solid terrain, you'll have really good fun. I would not recommend this to beginner people. You'll probably end up walking down a lot of the trails, but if you can handle an intermediate to advanced type of mountain biking trails, then this trip is certainly for you.
Very good.
Say to people in Australia if they were contemplating coming on this tour, what would you say to them to get them across?
It's a great experience. It's very different to riding in Australia. It's refreshingly different. I like the format of the trip. I like the accommodation, and it's all good. There's a great network of lifts, which make it even better. Yeah.
Have you made some great friends?
Oh yeah.
Or can you describe a typical day here in the Alps?
Get up, have a fantastic breakfast, just the way I like it. Make beautiful lunch, which I also really like. It suits me perfectly. You ride to your heart's content. Beautiful trails, fantastic. You develop, you improve your skills. Your condition improves without you knowing. Your skills improve, and then you come back. I guess what I really like is you're roughing it out throughout the day, you're really being pushed, and you come back to a very sophisticated and beautiful accommodation environment with wonderful food. And I think in that we are very, very lucky. It's a very special environment to come back to. So coming back from a rough day in the office, so to speak, to a beautiful environment at night in terms of accommodation.
If someone was just about to book this trip and they were having trouble just making the final decision on whether or not they're going to come or not, what would you say to them?
The riding itself is fantastic, accommodation is fantastic, it's very safe. The only thing I would recommend is that they are reasonably well prepared in terms of the challenging terrain. It's serious climbing sometimes, it's more serious downhilling sometimes, and you need to be prepared to walk sometimes if you are unsure, but not be disheartened by it. Just take every day as it comes, and sometimes you walk a lot and sometimes you don't, and just every little achievement is a bonus. That's what's up there.
Would you recommend this trip to someone else? Yeah. Why would you recommend this trip to someone else?
It's good fun. It's very relaxed. It's quite different, I think, to a lot of the riding people that I know ride. I think a lot of people that I know are fixated on Morzine and Leger, and they don't realise that you can actually ride in slightly more remote places, more interesting riding.
Now, Phil, you're from the UK, and this trip targets mostly Aussies.
Yeah.
But what would you say to any Aussies that are considering coming on this trip?
Stay away, because I don't like Australia. No, I think come out and try it, because it's obviously quite different to what you guys are used to. You know, it's an entirely different part of the world as well, different culture, slightly less rules.
Can you get his feet in there though?
That's wonderful. Yeah, great job. And then we get the shoes.
All right, Ian. We've just spent 2 weeks with you in the Alps. Describe, how's the last 2 weeks been for you?
Oh, it's just been superb. Really, really great fun. Really good bunch of riders. We've been able to push it to the limits pretty hard a lot of the time. Certainly, it's been the hardest group for me to guide, because everyone's been of really high standard of riding. So yeah, it's been great. Really good fun.
And what makes riding in the Alps so much different to riding in Australia?
It's the big descents and it's the skills. A lot of the trails that we're walking aren't designed. A lot of the trails that we're riding have not been designed as mountain bike trails. They're walking trails. You never know what's around the next corner, so you've got to be on your game the whole time. It's really technical and rocky, and you've got to be used to long descents over here. We regularly do runs down that are 1,000 metres, 1,200 metres. I think probably our longest one was nearly 1,400 metres over 20 kilometres. It's long runs downhill, so you've got to be. It's a totally different experience. You just don't get that in Australia.
What was your favourite day of the 2 weeks?
Favourite day? I always love doing the Col d'Antenne day, which is a really big hiker bike. Just because it's something that is so away from what people think of as mountain biking in the Alps, where they think they're going to come to Morzine and just sit on chairlifts and go down trails all the time. Whereas on that one, it's hard work. You've got to put your bike on your back and climb up a hill, but the rewards are just spectacular, and you're riding trails that nobody else has probably ridden this year at all.